Let's go. Yes,
that player. Yes, that player. Yes, that player. Holy fucking
Wow.
Pepe Jam.
Dude. We got a song.
That? Where did that come from?
I think Baby
Who
Blue
made
made
that?
that. I think
Oh.
Baby Blue made that. I remember they were talking about it.
That was Baby Blue. Oh, that's so good. Okay, let's load it up. It's the liquid one. So, getting into this, here's how this works. I have pulled Team Liquid's stats here, and I want you to guess where they rank out of teams in
Champs.
in champions. What? Sorry. Yeah, reveal the player, because the player just says champions
every
ranking.
team in
Champions
champ.
ranking.
So you can either be 1st to 16th. So their round win percentage, they're 12th.
Out of
So
16.
Out of 16. Heading into this since June, right? So this isn't just
so
recently. This is
Cryptics.
this is including with cryptics, etc.,
Everything,
right?
okay.
Heading into this. So I think anyway, I believe so. It's from stage 3 onwards, because I pulled it from this kind of thing. So round win percentage, obviously it's going to be higher most recently, but 12th overall. Win rate with the first kill, 13th. So haven't historically been particularly great at closing out once they get those entry picks and that kind of stuff. What do you reckon their first kill rate is? They've got 64% first kill rate. How do you reckon that ranks overall? So that means 64% of the time they're getting the first kill versus the first death.
I would probably, if they're, I mean, based off their other stats, and I think about the other teams they're currently competing, I mean, I'd probably still put them in like the tier. I feel like most of the time they're going to be sitting between like 12th to 20th or 16th.
Yeah, this is an interesting
know?
one because I really don't know contextually. Like,
But
what
also
is a
Scream.
good
But also
first kill rate?
Scream.
So win rate with first kill, the average is 72%.
And they're
Okay.
74.
So if you get the first pick, most teams, just average across the board, is 72% of the time
Across
you win the
all
round.
teams.
Across all teams. Which means they are higher than average, but compared to the champions teams, who are some of the best in the world,
Yeah.
it's towards the bottom of the pack. First kill rate, 64% of the time they get the first kill. So, across the board, that's 50%. The average across all teams in the world has to be 50%, because half the time you get the first kill, half the time they get the
I
first
think
time
I'm more
when it's average.
Actually, I'm thinking about this in the way they play around Scream so often.
That's just 64% of the time.
They get the first pick.
64%
And where
arounds
does that
they get
put
the
them
first
in
kill.
relation
Where does
to
that put
everyone?
them in
I'm gonna put them
rankings?
at like actually like I might put them as like 10th.
I'll go with
I'm gonna go 10th.
11.
11, all right, unveil it. First kill rate in the tournament, they are first. 64% is nutty. They're not just first, they're first by a long shot.
I don't know what the context is.
Right, but most
good
teams
first kill rate.
teams for first kills are going to be hovering somewhere around, like the 55% weight. Like they only get the first pick a little more often than they get the first death.
Yeah.
Because guaranteeing first picks almost 2/3 of the time is absurdly
I guess that's true.
high, right? If you think about like a bell curve, they're on the top end of it, but they are monstrously good. And part of the reason I think their win rate with first kill is quite low is because they just get first kill so often. Like they toss some of them away, but actually when you think about the first in first kills and they still convert at just higher than average,
I
they're
probably
winning
should
a
have
lot of
thought a
rounds
little bit
off
more
the
about the
base of
stats
that.
because I was like, okay, they play around Scream a lot. They get a lot of first kills.
So I just told you win rate with first death, right? So I told you 72% of the time you win with the first kill. That means on average 28% of the time you win with the first death. Okay, just across the board, all teams in the world. 28% of the time you win with first death. They have 29%, just higher than average. Where do you reckon that ranks them across champions teams?
Raw, I mean, it would probably be similar to the rankings of win rate with first kill. Or
So,
somewhere around
there?
that would correlate there because they are slightly above average in terms of first kill. They are slightly above average with first death. So I'm going to go with 13 again.
Where do you reckon?
I'm gonna put them. I'm probably gonna put them at 11.
All right, let's have a look. Unveil it. Release the lock. They're
16.
16.
Damn, way
They're
lower.
dead last
Wow.
across champions. When they get picked, their win rate is the lowest. Again, just higher than average, but when that comes to champions teams, that puts them dead
That's
last
crazy.
across all champs teams.
Damn.
So essentially, They ain't winning very often unless they get the first pick, but they do get the first pick the most out of any of the teams. So what about this? Post-plant win percentage. They get the spike down. How often do they convert that to a round win? So
in that
it's
situation,
70% of the time they convert it to a round win.
I feel like 70% is not good, but again, I don't know the context.
So the average, in fact, the average
Should you even
is
tell us?
the average is somewhere in the low 70s.
Right.
So it's like 74, something like that is about the average.
So they're below average.
They're below average,
So, I mean, are they
for
16th?
champions teams.
Oh, this is the average for champs teams.
Yeah, so I can tell you they're below average for champions. So you're talking somewhere between
They have
8th
to
and
be between
16th.
8th and 16th.
So
yeah.
where do you reckon this will put them?
I'll go for a... fuck it, man. I'll go for 16 again.
I'm going to go 14th.
Ren's correct. 16th.
16th again. God
16th.
damn.
So in champions, so what this tells me, what I look at these stats and take from this is that historically, from stage 3 onwards, this version of Liquid is a little bit better than their stats would indicate because they've been a lot better since adding Navera. But this to me tells me that they're like a sloppy team when it comes to getting an advantage.
Yeah.
They get the advantage really often, but they can't close it out as much as some other teams are. They don't convert off spike plants as much as you'd expect them to, and they don't convert off first picks as much as you'd expect them to.
This
apparently
is
we missed the map picks.
We'll figure it out.
skewed data
A little bit.
because of the prior thing where we've seen... I feel like if this included LCQ and...
Oh, no, it
the
does
Red Bull,
include those.
But only them. Those numbers would be looking
They'd be a lot
different.
different. Yeah.
Possibly.
I think they would look.
But
I'd be
honestly-
interested to see what the comparison would
But
be.
you've got to remember, it's not like Liquid were performing like shit during stage 3. They were one game away from being able to qualify for Berlin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they still made it really deep in EMEA whilst putting that kind of stuff up.